Welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on Blog Talk Radio. This is a show that changes your mind so you can change your community for the better.
All right, welcome back to the Willie Lawson Show, and we trust that you are well tonight. We trust that things are going great in your life. It is a Monday morning. Yay, Monday morning. It is early Monday morning, so you know what? We're going to be up again in about 6 hours after we are finish our deal here, because we have the Ed Dean radio show that we're doing tomorrow or this morning at 6:30. So you want to listen at eddeanradio.com, www.eddeanradio.com. You can check out what we're going to talk about. It's always a good time when Ed and I get together. But right now you're tuned into the Willie Lawson Show here on Blog Talk Radio, simulcasting on Spreaker.com and iHeartRadio. So we are pushing our technology that we have to the nth degree, as far and hard as we can push it, because what the heck, why not? And no real reason why not. I'd like to thank my pastor today for giving me this idea, for unknowingly giving me this idea. The title of the show today is The 12 Spies and the Modern Conservative, because this is how I see conservatives and Republicans behaving as we approach the 2016 elections. Now, a lot of this has to do with your girl Hillary Clinton and the mainstream media and the like. So I'm going to do something I don't normally do on this show, but I'm going to do it, and you'll be okay. You will survive it, I promise. I'm going to read some scripture. I'm going to read Numbers 13, or a good portion of Numbers 13 from the American Standard Version of the Bible. And you'll get it. You'll get it once I start reading. This is from Numbers 13, verse 16. These are the names of the men that Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hosea, the son of Nun, Joshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way by the south, and go into the hill country, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they are weak or strong, whether they are few or many, and what the land is, and that they dwell in, whether it is good or bad, and what cities they are that they dwell in, whether in camps or in strongholds, and whether the land is fat or lean, whether there is wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring the fruit of the land. Now time was the time and of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied on the land in the wilderness of Zin, into Rehob, in the entrance of Hamath. And they went up to the south, and came into Hebron, and Almin, Shishaiah, Talmai, the children of Anak were there. Now the Hebron was built 7 years before Zon in Egypt. And they came unto the valley of Eshcol, and cut down from hence a branch, one cluster of grapes, and they bare it upon the staff between the two. They also brought also pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol, because of the cluster of which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from spying out the land at the end of 40 days. So here's the deal. The Israelites had gotten out of Egypt, and they were on their way to the land that God promised them. And they came upon this area, and Moses said, hey, listen, he got together one guy from each tribe and said, I want you guys to go into this land and check it out. So he got one from each of the 12 tribes, and they went and they checked it out. and they brought back stuff. They brought back grapes that were so big that they had to put it on a big trestle between two people. They had pomegranates. They had all sorts of stuff that they had to carry back. And they went and came to Moses and Aaron. Aaron was his brother, and said to the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. So they came back to say, here's what it was about, and look at all this stuff. And they told him, they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sent us. Let's not read that version, because that version has whither and thou and the like. Let me give you something that you might, let's see here, Bible Gateway. Give me the Message. And now I'm using the Message because it's a paraphrase. The Message is not a translation, it's a paraphrase. We went to the land to which you sent us, and oh, does it flow with milk and honey. Just look at this fruit. The only thing is that the people who live there are fierce. Their cities are huge and well fortified. Worse yet, we saw the descendants of the giant Anak. The Amalekites are spread out in the Negev. Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites hold the hill country, and the Canaanites are established on the Mediterranean Sea along the Jordan. Caleb interrupted, called for silence before Moses, and said, let's go up and take the land now. We can do it. Now, 11 of them said, hey, listen, this is too hard. Are you kidding me? These people are huge, and there's lots of them, and their cities are fortified. There's no way. Caleb said, wait a minute. Let's go up and take the land. We can do it. Now, to give you some background, Israel God had just whooped up on Egypt for the children of Israel, just whooped up on Egypt. So these people would have been afraid of the Israelites, because they knew that the God that they had was serious business. Now, here's what happened, and this is all important to what happened. They sent 12 people into this area that they were able to not be seen. They were able to bring back stuff and not be caught, which in general says things went pretty well. You would think that things went pretty well. However, 11 of them said, hey, listen, there's no way we can do this. Caleb said, okay. But the others said, we can't attack these people. They are way stronger than we are. They spread scare rumors among the people of Israel. They said, we scouted out the land from one end to the other. It's a land that swallows people whole. Everybody we saw was huge. Why? We even saw the Nephilim giants, the Anak giants that came from Nephilim. Along with them, we felt like grasshoppers. And they looked down upon us as if we were grasshoppers. Now, other translations say, and this isn't a translation, it's a paraphrase, but other translations say that we were grasshoppers in our own eyes. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar when you're talking to conservatives about going into urban America? That 11 of 12 consultants come back and say, there's no way. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're embedded. There are Democrats that have been there forever and ever and ever. There's no way. There's no way we can win there. It's 70-30 where you live, or 80-20 in that district, in that city, in that neighborhood. There's no way. There's always one that sees differently, that sees, you know what, we have everything we need. Like Caleb knew that the power of God was with them and they could do it. Caleb knew that that land, that promised land, was promised to them and that God had their back. That's what he knew. For sure. That's what he knew. And he was ready to encourage the children of Israel to go in. Not that I would equate myself with Caleb, but there are those of us who look at the urban community around this country and say, you know what, it's time. We can go in. We can win. We can go into this area that's been promised to us by our political heritage, and we can win. Yes. So, what should we do? Here's what happened to the children of Israel. Because the people were afraid and they listened to the bad reports, they spent 40 years wandering in the wilderness. Because they would not act upon the things that they knew. They operated out of fear and trepidation, succumbing to the rumors that was spread by the 11, not believing in or having confidence in what they knew to be true. It says in Numbers 14, this is still the Message, so this is a paraphrase, don't get all crazy. On 14, Numbers 14, 1 through 3, the whole community was in an uproar, wailing all night. All the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The entire community was in on it. Why didn't we just die in Egypt or in this wilderness? Why has God brought us to this country to kill us? Our wives and our children are about to become plunder. Why don't we just head back to Egypt and right now? Soon they were all saying it to one another. Let's pick a new leader. Let's head back to Egypt. Does that sound familiar? How the community just turns on the people who have gotten them there to that place? Do you see that happening in the conservative community? Do you see that happening in the Republican community? How they turn on their leaders because now they're in the wilderness. My question in this bit of scripture: what would have happened? How different would it have been if they had followed Caleb and gone into the promised land then and taken what was theirs, what had been promised them then, instead of succumbing to the rumors and then eventually turning on one another? Later on in that piece of scripture in Numbers 14, 6 through 9, this is a paraphrase from the Message. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, members of the scouting party, ripped their clothes and addressed the assembling people of Israel. The land we walked through and scouted out is a very good land, very good indeed. If God is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land that flows, as they say, with milk and honey, and give it to us. Just don't rebel against God, and don't be afraid of those people. Why, we'll have them for lunch. They have no protection. God is on our side. Don't be afraid of them. But up in arms now, the community was talking of hurling stones at them. And all that that Joshua and Caleb were saying was, hey, listen, we got this. We got this. Our base, God is with us. Our base, what we believe, is going to be strong enough to win. All we have to do is do it. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like the Louisiana plan that the Black Conservatives Fund did in Louisiana when they were told there was no way they could beat Mary Landrieu, that she was too entrenched, she was an entrenched Democrat, that black people were not going to not vote, they were not going to not vote for Mary Landrieu, that she was known as a comeback queen and had been through a number of runoff elections, that she could not be defeated, except that she was. Because Black Conservatives Fund went into Louisiana right away, and they were strong in their belief. They knew what truth was, and spoke truth to power, and conquered the great and powerful Mary Landrieu. This should be an example to all of us, that we should not behave like the children of Israel did in Numbers 13 and 14, listening to the bad report of 11 of the 12 consultants. Now, if you had taken a poll of the top 12 consultants in D.C. about what to do in Louisiana, what at least 11 of them would have said is, don't worry about it. They're going to win that one. There's nothing you can do about it. Thank God that the Black Conservatives Fund decided that no, we can win. We know how. We've got support. And what we believe is strong. And our base, the positions that we work from, are strong and can defeat the other side. So not even conservatives, the trusted conservatives, it's like, I mean, these 12 spies that went into the Promised Land to spy were not just 12, they weren't just 12 losers. Moses sent them off in the wilderness. They were send men to scout the country of Canaan. I am giving to the people of Israel. Send one man from each ancestral tribe, one of each tried and true leader of the tribe. We're talking about the cream of the cream, a real leader. These were the top flight folks that were sent. These weren't just some random folks. These were the top flight people. So if he went to the top flight consultants that everybody goes to in D.C. to say, before the election, what do we do about Louisiana? Should we go in? Should we win? Can we win? They would have at least 11 of the 12 of them would have said no. They would have come back with all the data saying, there's no way, don't do it. Don't waste the money. Don't waste the political capital. That's what they would have said. But the fact of the matter is that the Black Conservatives Fund is the Caleb in this situation and said, yes, we can. They're the Joshua and Caleb, but they went in. They went in knowing full well that they had the full backing of what's right, and the people would acquiesce, and they could defeat the enemy. And defeated the enemy. Mary Landrieu is not the senator from that area of Louisiana. The Louisiana plan worked, so they were able to get in and stay in and possess the land. Congratulations to the Black Conservatives Fund. Now, if this worked other places, if this worked here, it worked other places. Now, we have to start understanding, I think what we have to start understanding is that it is truly time for conservatives and Republicans to take the attitude of Caleb and Joshua in this situation and possess the land. I truly believe that it is time to possess the land. Because because if you don't possess the land, what you get is exactly what you've got. I mean, you start to get now. It's what happens in Numbers 14. Let's see here, where the people grumble against the leadership and start talking for a change in leadership. Why do they want to change leadership? They want to change in leadership that goes along with what they already think, what they've been told. But up in arms now, the entire community was talking of hurling stones at Joshua and Caleb. Just then the bright glory of God appeared in the tent of meeting. Every Israelite saw it. God said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me like dirt? How long refuse to trust me? And in all these signs I have done among them, I have had enough. I'm going to hit them with a plague and kill them, but I'll make you and the nation bigger and stronger than ever." But Moses said to God, "The Egyptians are going to hear about this. You deliver these people from Egypt with a great show of strength, and now this? The Egyptians will tell everyone. They've already heard that you are God and you are on the side of this people, that you are present among them, that they will see you in their own eyes in your cloud that hovers over them, in the pillar of cloud that leads them by day and the pillar of fire at night. If you kill the entire people in one stroke, all the nations that have heard what has been going on will say, since God couldn't get these people into the land which he had promised to give them, he slaughtered them out in the wilderness. Now please let the power of the Master expand itself, enlarge itself greatly along the lines that you have laid out earlier." Now here's the deal. God was PO'd and said, "You know what? I'm done." Told Moses, "I'll just kill them all and start again." And Moses interceded. Moses said, wait. Now, how does that relate? You are now hearing voices, conservative voices, Republican voices that say none of these people are worthy. Isn't that what you're hearing? None of them. They're all in on it. Don't you hear people like Glenn Beck saying that they're all in on it, that he's not a Republican anymore because they're all in on it? Every single one of them. Well, except maybe the two people that he likes. Right? They're all in on it. The Republicans are all in on it. Destroy the Republican Party. You know what? And I read something on Facebook, which means, like I said, I got to stop reading Facebook because it depresses me. That said, I don't care. Let Hillary get elected and destroy the whole country, and we'll go into revolution. You know what? This person wrote, I'd soon that happen than elect Jeb Bush. I'd do that first, other than vote for Jeb Bush. He would rather there be death and destruction. Seriously? Can't take you seriously. But Moses interceded on behalf of the people. Now please let the power of the Master expand, enlarge itself greatly along the lines that you have laid out earlier when you said, see, Moses reminded God of what he said, God, slow to get angry, and huge in love and loyal love, forgiving iniquities and rebellion and sin, still never just whitewashing sin, but extending the fallout of parent sins to the children to the third and even fourth generations. Please forgive the wrongdoings of these people out of the extravagance of your loyal love, just as all along from the time they left Egypt, you have been forgiving of these people. So again, Moses interceded and got in the gap for these people. So what happened? God said, I forgive them, honoring your words. But as I live, and the glory of God fills the whole earth, not a single person of those who saw my glory saw the miracle of signs I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and who have tested me over and over again, turning a deaf ear to me. Not one of them will set eyes on the land I so solemnly promised to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with such repeated contempt will see it. But my servant Caleb is a different story. He has a different spirit. He has followed me passionately. I'll bring him into the land that he has scouted for his children to inherit it. Now, remember, Caleb was one of the spies who said, wait, we can do it. We can do it. Remember? So, as they wandered for the next 40 years, most of the people who got into this big struggle died. I'm not sure if it's going to take that for the Republican Party and conservatives to get it. Are they going to wander? Are Republicans going to wander in the wilderness for the next 40 years until they decide that the urban community is somewhere where not only can they go, but they have to go to win? They have to. I think it's, I don't know, and maybe it isn't, but I think it's a very interesting parallel to what's happening. I mean, this Bible story is a very interesting parallel to what's actually happening now. When people tell me that the Bible isn't relevant, I always laugh at them. There's not a book that is more relevant to what's happening now than the Scriptures. There's not any, I mean, there's nothing that is more relevant than the Scriptures. There's nothing. Listen, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more on the Willie Lawson Show right after these messages. Hang on with us. Let your friends know. Download the show. Tweet the show. Facebook the show. Pinterest the show. Periscope the show. Whatever you have to do. LinkedIn the show. And we'd appreciate all of it. And as soon as I find the button, let's see here, HIJKLMNO. There you go. We'll be back with more of the Willie Lawson Show right after this.
Welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on Blog Talk Radio. This is a show that changes your mind so you can change your community for the better.
Okay, class, let's all sing our 911 song. There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
If you can't raise an arm,
Dial 911.
if you're suddenly having trouble speaking these words,
Dial 911.
face suddenly goes all numb,
Dial 911.
all of a sudden get the worst headache of your life,
Dial 911.
sudden loss of sight in one or both eyes.
Dial 911.
If you think stroke may be the cause, never wait to call.
Dial 911.
911. Making a difference in someone's life is elementary. Know the sudden signs of stroke and dial 911 immediately if they appear. Time lost is brain lost. For more information, visit powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
You have a discriminating taste and an eye for the impressive. You need to surround yourself with not only beauty, but quality. That is why you are looking for a new construction home for you and your family. Let the experts at New Homes of Tampa Bay guide you to and through your new home purchase process. With access to hundreds of model homes throughout the Tampa Bay area, New Homes of Tampa Bay is sure to find that perfect match of budget and beauty you are looking for. New Homes of Tampa Bay can save you thousands of dollars while costing you nothing. Call us today before you start your new home search. New Homes of Tampa Bay at 813-770-9452 and at www.newhomestpa.com. Well, good morning. Are you interested in upping your conservative IQ? To be more solid in your conservative thought? To be able to debate at a higher level? To be able to understand at a higher level what conservatism in America is really all about? Well, I can help you now. Alongside us as partners is a new partner, the RedRiverChronicle.com website. The RedRiverChronicle.com website, whose founder is Kevin Batts, understands what conservatism is all about and understands it in the way they write their articles, their commentary, all the educational material that is on the website, put together in a great way, very easy to navigate. So if you want to up your IQ, go to RedRiverChronicle.com.
Welcome to the Roy Lawson Show here on Blog Talk Radio. This is a show that changes your mind so you can change your community for the better.
All right, we're back with more of the Will Austin Show here on Blog Talk Radio. We appreciate that. We're also doing a show that's going to be uploaded to iHeartRadio through Spreaker. Thank you for that. We're doing them at the same time. So we're going to see what the quality is. So if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, know that you can find the Willie Lawson Show also on iHeartRadio on the website. So we're very, very excited about that opportunity. There you go, and I hope that this is the kind of show that you're interested in. This is the kind of show that we like to do. We want to talk about things in a real sort of way. We want to talk about what the real solutions are. And in 2012, I was blessed enough to be asked to do election coverage for Liberty News and Grassfire Nation in their Virginia headquarters. We did 6.5 hours of election night coverage, starting very early in the evening, about 5 o'clock, with no break, and went straight through to about 11:30, when the editor-in-chief of Liberty News, Eric Odom, called the election for Barack Obama. And what we saw is, and what I tried to tell them is, what we saw is that there was a lot of red around the country on the maps, but the blue splotches in the major cities, in the urban areas, are where the people live and made the difference. And that's where they lost. Now, that's the promised land. That's where the election is. That's where the win is. The win is there. The win for any national election, especially the presidential election in 2016, is in the blue area. It is the promised land. Now, will we be brave enough to enter that promised land, or will we continue to listen to the report of the 11 that say there's no way? There are giants living in that land. There's no way. And continue to wander in the wilderness for at least another 4 years. Maybe even another 40 years. That's the question that we have. That's the question that we have this evening. But there's all sorts of ways to. I think there's all sorts of ways to practice. There's all sorts of ways to get used to doing what we need to do. There are a number of local elections going on around the country where you live that concerns Republicans and conservatives who are running in minority districts, who are running in primarily Democrat districts, that the report from the 11 is the same. What we can do is that we can choose to follow the report of Caleb. That we can be Caleb's here and say, we're going in because God has promised us the win here. Because we are people of God. And this is the promised land in which He has promised us. Can we have that conviction about what we believe? When we know that we're going into areas that are supporting and promoting all sorts of debauchery that offends us. Can we be the people of God that say, you know what, we're not going to be the other 11, that we're going to be the Caleb in our community. We're going to be the Caleb and say what Caleb said. And get the benefit and the blessing of Caleb. Again, in Numbers 14, verse 24, from the Message paraphrase, but my servant Caleb, that is a different story. He has a different spirit. He follows me passionately. I'll bring him into the land that he scouted, and his children will inherit it. Okay, for those of you who are gripping, because I am reading you a version that you may not agree with. It's a paraphrase. Let's see, verse 20, Numbers 14, verse 24. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, hath followed me fully, and I will bring him into the land wherein he went, and his seed shall possess it. So we want to be Caleb here. We want to be Caleb as we move into the land and possess it. And that land is the urban community. And we can be. That's the deal. We can be. Because we have followed the tenets of just and fair and honorable. Excuse me. We have. And Caleb came from the tribe of Judah, the tribe of praise, so we can. All we have to do now is believe what we believe. Do we actually believe what we believe about the conservative message? Do we actually believe it? Do we think that that what we're talking about, it will be good for all people? That's the deal. Do we actually believe what we say we believe? If we do, then there is no doubt that we should be entering the urban community with the good news of conservatism, with the gospel, which means good news of conservatism. We should be the Caleb. All right, listen, we got to get out of here. Thanks for coming to the Will Watson Show here on Blog Talk Radio and iHeartRadio. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.
Welcome to the Will Watson Show here on Blog Talk Radio, the Wacko Network and Pundit Press Radio. This is conservative talk for those who want to increase their conservative IQ.